You're watching ERi-TV with me, Bersa Betakhle. Welcome to English News Broadcast. Let us start with the major headlines for today. Eritrean delegation attending African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. 18 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 and tests carried out today. China joins Russia in opposing NATO expansion as Ukraine crisis escalates. And multiple oil transport and storage companies across Europe hit by cyber attacks. On the local news, senior Eritrean delegation composed of Mr. Usman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Presidential Advisor Mr. Yamane Gebrab is participating at the 35th Summit of the African Union, taking place from 2 to 6 February at the headquarters of the Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The 35th African Union Summit is being held under the theme Strengthening Resilience in Nutrition and Food Security on the African Continent, Strengthening Agro-Food System, Health and Social Protection Systems for the Acceleration of Human, Social and Economic Capital Development. On the sidelines of the summit, the Eritrean delegation met and held talks with representatives of African Union member states and organizations. During the bilateral meeting that Minister Usman Saleh held on the 3rd February with Ambassador Rachel Omamo, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, the two sides discussed focusing on consolidation of bilateral ties between the two countries and on the importance of coordinating efforts to promote peace, stability, and development in the Horn of Africa. In the meeting, Minister Osman held with Mr. Ramtane Lamamra, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Community Abroad of Algeria, the two ministers discussed on bilateral relations as well as regional and continental issues of mutual concern. We have an announcement from the Ministry of Health. 18 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 and tests carried out today at testing stations in the central, Ansaba, and Gashbarka regions. Out of this, 8 patients are from testing stations in Asmara Central region. 7 patients are from testing stations in Habero 3, Ilabera 2, and Hamil Malo 2, Ansaba region. 3 patients are from testing stations in Barentu, Gashbarka region. On the other hand, 28 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the Central 14, Ansaba 13, and Gashbarka 1 regions have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. Sadly, a 78-year-old patient in the Central region has passed away due to pandemic. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 9,351, while the number of deaths has risen to 100. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 9,619. Ministry of Health, Asmara, February 4, 2022. The Ministry of Agriculture reported that date farming in the northern and southern Red Sea regions is in good progress. According to the report from the ministry, so far over 20,000 date palm trees have been planted in both regions and are in good condition, indicating that in the coming 6-7 years, Eritrea will be able to produce date fruit beyond local consumption. Mr. Muse Faqadu, head of biotechnology at the Halhale National Agricultural Research Institute, said that training programs will be organized to develop the understanding and capacity of date farmers. Mr. Daniel Tahaste, head of fruits and vegetables farming development in the northern Red Sea region, said that the project was initiated by 2 farmers in 1996 and that currently about 12,000 date palm trees have been planted by commercial farmers, government institutions, and individual farmers in the subzones of Ginda, She'eb, Foro, Afabet, and Masawa. Mr. Mohammed Abdurrahman, head of seeds development in the southern Red Sea region, on his part said that over 8,800 date palm trees have been planted in the subzones of Asab, South Dankalia, and Areta, and about 200 farmers are engaged in the activity. The National Union of Eritrean Youth and Student Branch in the Southern Region organized one-week social science training program to 100 students from various subzones of the region. The program included the historical background of the Union, nation and nationalism, national charter, meaning of political science, youth and national service, as well as technology and information. Speaking at the concluding event of the training program, Mr. Eritrea, head of the Union branch in the Southern Region, said that the objective of the training was to develop the overall understanding of the youth with a view to strengthen their participation in the national affairs. Pointing out on the significance of the training in developing the knowledge of the youth on the history of the country, as well as in developing their capacity, Mr. Saleh Ahmedin, chairman of the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students, called on the trainees to transfer the knowledge they gained to their fellow youth in their areas. That was domestic news. Do stay with us for international news after the short break. Welcome back. China has put on a united front with Russia as the Ukraine crisis escalates, with President Xi Jinping joining Vladimir Putin in opposing further NATO expansions. In a joint statement issued today after the Russian president met Xi in Beijing, the two powers called on NATO to abandon the ideological approaches of the Cold War. The meeting, Xi's first face-to-face talks with a world leader in nearly 2 years as his country hosts the 2022 Winter Olympics, came as Western leaders upped diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the Ukraine crisis. Today, French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz also announced separate visits to Moscow and Kiev in the coming weeks. The US and its European partners fear Russia may be planning an attack on its neighbor given Moscow's massing of more than 100,000 soldiers near the two countries' shared border. But the Kremlin denies such plans and instead blames Washington and NATO for undermining the region's security. IT systems have been disrupted at oil tanking in Germany, Sea Invest in Belgium, and Envos in the Netherlands. In total, dozens of terminals with oil storage and transport around the world have been affected, with firms reporting that the attack occurred over the weekend. But experts caution against assuming this is a coordinated attack. According to further reports, all three companies' IT systems went down or were severely disrupted. Oil tanking in Germany was forced to operate at a limited capacity, with some reports suggesting that the attack is ransomware. Belgian prosecutors say they are investigating the cyber attack that has affected Sea Invest terminals, including the company's largest sea tank. A spokeswoman for the company said they were hit on a Sunday, with every port they run in Europe and Africa being affected. A spokesperson for the Envos in Netherlands told the media that IT services at some terminals, including Ghent and Malta, have caused some delays in execution. A vessel with a storage capacity of 2 million barrels of oil has exploded off the coast of southern Nigeria's Delta State, raising fears of an environmental disaster and concerns about the fate of its crew. Shabah Exploration and Production Company said yesterday that flames had engulfed the Trinity Spirit following the blast a day earlier. The floating production, storage, and offloading vessel can process up to 22,000 barrels of oil a day, according to the operator's website. Images published by local media showed thick black smoke billowing from a sinking ship engulfed by flames. And now a recap of today's major headlines. Eritrean delegation attending African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. 18 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 and tests carried out today. China joins Russia in opposing NATO expansion as Ukraine crisis escalates. And multiple oil transport and storage companies across Europe hit by cyber attacks. That was all for today. Thanks for watching.